We're about to start. Before we start, just want to say very few words about Code Chrysalis. If you're here, you probably know we are coding bootcamp, and today's the day our current cohort is graduating. They've spent 12 hard weeks. And I won't say much, this day is all about them, but I do want to say a thank you to some of our partners who, without them, we... Thank you. So that includes Pivotal. Pivotal is always kind enough to offer a very unique workshop to our students. So thank you very much to everyone at Pivotal, everyone who's making it happen. Thank you, Robert. A big thank you to Rakuten Rapid API. Thank you, Kevin. And Jet and everyone else over there. And thank you to RGA. Anyone from RGA here that I can thank? No.
On holiday.
Ah, thank you, Anthony. All right. So yeah, without further ado, I will just give it up to our Master of Ceremonies today, which is current student, Matt. Big applause, please.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the CC6 demo day. Stage fright, don't worry about it. Okay, so first off the cab off the rank, we're going to have a look at sorting algorithms. This is something we looked at in week 2. So we all chose different sorting algorithms, so insertion sort, gnome sort, things like that, and we sort of went through and we visualized how these were going to work. And then we went off and then we made a visual representation of how these work. So for our first guest, he goes by many nicknames: the Destroyer, the Machine. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Danum.
Thank you, man. Hi everyone, my name is Danum Kim. Today I want to introduce my app, Quick Trick Galaxy. The app is to implement the visualization of pre-partition sorting. I'm sorry. Before I go ahead, I want to introduce myself. I'm from Korea, and I majored electronics engineering and embedded system design. And I really like to create things, so I actually create the embedded system, for example, the Tetris player, or Bumblebee player, or even full-leg robot. And also, later on, I became interested in web tech. Also, I wanted to broaden my perspective, so I came here around 9 years ago, and I worked in software development. But you know what, the work, my job was not so good for me. It was getting bored, not so challengeable. So I tried to find something cool with international people in here, and so I'm now at Code Chrysalis. I'm really satisfied now. Also, I'm really big interest in blockchain, so I presented 45 tech talk for my mini blockchain. I'm going to tell you about it later. And this is my introduction, and let's talk about sorting. And we are using sorting every day. And the sorting is our life. For example, in a spreadsheet, it's really easy. And also, task management is also really difficult for all developers and other workers. And even students, and they take grade in the school, and maybe professor will sort of, and descending or sending whatever. And even for trash can, it's really small stuff. But I want to talk about the quick sorting first, because we should understand this and to understand three-way partition. And quick sort is to pick up a pivot value randomly in the list, and then the value, every value will compare to pivot value. So the value is smaller than or equal to pivot value, and it will be left side, and the bigger than and pivot value, and it will be right side. So if they are switching continuously and repeatedly until there's no data to compare, so the result will be like this. So what's the difference between three-way partition and two-way partition. It's really simple. There is middle data in the list. And three-way partition use middle data, and middle data will not be sorted, and just use left side and right side. So three-way partition is really faster than two-way when there's so many duplicates in the list. But it's kind of looks bored. No, it's a bit bored. So I asked myself, is this sorting fun actually? Yes. So I want to show my demo. And this demo is to show sorting shuffled data from 1 to 1,000. Enjoy watching. Yeah, as you can see, actually the sorting is working. It's not trick. Okay, thank you. This is a quick 3 Galaxy demo. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. And next, I want to talk about tech stack a little bit. I used vanilla JavaScript and CSS and Chart.js and Webpack for front-end side. And I also used Express for backend to serve a static file. Basically, there's no any API. And also, I used Mocha and Chai to test internal logic in my app. And I used Heroku to deploy my app. Yeah, this is my everything of my app. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching.
I hope you enjoyed that. I know that I've never looked at sorting algorithms the same ever since I saw that. Okay, so next up we've got Charles, and Charles is going to show you something from the solo MVP week. So the solo MVP, we made a minimum viable product, and we did it over 2 days, and we used tech that we've never used before. Now, Charles is our touch typing champion of CC6. Our last typing test, he came in approaching 100 words a minute. So he is well and above everyone else. He's also our international man of mystery. We were in the cohort together for a month before he even bothered to mention that he grew up in Shanghai. And we only found out he spoke Chinese when they got his order wrong at the local restaurant. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles.
Thank you, Matt. Hello, everyone. My name is Charles, and I'll be introducing my MS Digit Recognition app. So, a bit about me first. As Matt mentioned, I was raised in Shanghai, but I was actually born in California, so I was kind of multi-cultural background. I went to school in UC Davis as an electrical engineer. Then I worked in a company as a server applications engineer for a year. That got a little bit boring. I learned basically all I needed to know, and then at the time I decided to learn how to code on the side. Then I discovered Code Chrysalis and thought, I'm gonna go for it. And now I'm here. Now I am a software engineer with an interest in front-end design and machine learning, which is what I'm actually gonna talk about today. So why machine learning? Most people look at machine learning and they say, wow, this is overly complex. Or they're on the other end of the spectrum and they think, dystopian future. Everything's gonna go wrong if we view machines. And I'm not saying that's actually necessarily wrong, but there are a lot of benefits from machine learning. One example, everyone knows Google Home, speech recognition. A machine learning AI knows how to recognize your speech and respond back. Then you have face filters. Everyone likes face filters. I don't know anyone that doesn't. You have facial recognition, and you can put a filter over it. And finally, some people love it, some people hate it. Google recommendations, your Facebook recommendations, your Spotify recommendations. When your aunt finds you on Facebook, it's because Facebook used machine learning to help them. So some other uses, medicine. So this is an image of dry eye disease being scanned using machine learning. So it uses image recognition to scan the eye to see if someone has dry eye disease. It's a lot more less invasive than the normal measures we use now. And another cool thing is detecting cancer and tumor cells using machine learning is also very common. So these are reasons why I was personally interested in machine learning. But the hardest thing for me now is, where do I start? It's really hard. I just didn't know where to start. You know, I was a novice at the time when we started the project. I thought, where do I go? And I had two things I needed. One, data. I needed to find the data to train a model. And the second thing I needed, let me go back. I needed data and I needed some tool to help me train that model. So the data I found first was this, the MNIST dataset. So the MNIST dataset is a library of images, about 6,000 to 7,000, all handwritten numbers, digits from 0 to 9. And I thought I could definitely use this. Looking on Reddit, on Google, on everywhere, it told me this was the hello world of machine learning. So I definitely went about that. Then I needed something like a library. I used TensorFlow. I found out about TensorFlow from one medium. It was Silicon Valley's HBO Silicon Valley. They had an app on here where basically they had an image recognition app that could tell if something was a hot dog or if it wasn't a hot dog. So that got them on the map and got them in my eyes. And I decided, well, I'm going to use it. The cool thing about TensorFlow, open source library, completely free, simplifies algorithm use. I don't understand algorithms, but I made something with it. And then implements neural networks. The one I'm using specifically, a convolutional neural network, which is basically this. You get a picture, you split up the pixels, and then you turn it into something using a bunch of math. So this example, there's 10 classes at the end, 0 to 9. So I actually gave a tech talk about this. I'll keep the QR code open if you want to learn more about it. So let me give you a quick demo. So this is my app. It's a little basic. It's something that a teenager would find online, play 5 seconds and be like, wow, that's cool, and then leave. But it uses real machine learning. So if I type in a number, or not type, draw in a number, it will guess what the number is. 90% of the time. So yeah, right here, these are just charts from 0 to 9. Basically, if I draw something, it will kind of change like that. Really simple, but really basic. The hello world of machine learning. So the technologies I use for this, TensorJS for my machine learning model, React, Redux, and Material UI for the front end. I didn't use the back end because there was no data to store. Then I used Canvas with HTML5 to make the drawbox, and then Chart.js to make it look a bit more pretty. So I want to end this talk by saying I want anyone here who is afraid to get into machine learning to go give it a try. Because there's a lot of resources out there. You don't need a PhD to go on about this. Like I mentioned, I use the MNIST dataset, the Hello World, but if you're a bit more advanced or want to try something more interesting, the ImageNet actually has like millions of images of birds, dogs, humans that you can use for any machine learning model. And also there are a lot of tools, a lot of open source tools for you to use. You might need to know Python. If you know JavaScript, TensorFlow has a JavaScript version, which is what I used actually. So if you want, check these tools out and definitely give it a shot. Thank you very much. My name is Charles, and if you want, you can come talk to me after if you can't get this. But yeah, come watch my tech talk, check out my demo, and just talk to me about machine learning. Thank you very much.
So I hope you enjoyed that. I, for one, also first learnt about TensorFlow with Hot Dog, Not a Hot Dog app. Okay, so next up is something from our Polyglottal week. So, about week 8, everyone gets to do a full stack application in a programming language they've never used before. And what you're about to see is the fruits of that. So our next person up, so former professional dancer and master of the persona and the user story, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sora.
Thank you, Matt. My name is Sora. Let me introduce my Sora project. First, I want to talk a little about myself. I am product manager working in an advertising company, and this image represents the brain, mind of a product manager. as you can see, the communication is the 40%, and I spend lots of time communicating people. And my job is to talk to the business users and hearing about business needs and converting a very unclear idea into very clear decision making. And I'm also responsible making project deliver the project successfully. Notifying risks, potential risks are also my job. So I am talking to people, the stakeholders and business users and also engineers to deliver the good product. So why the product manager is taking a full stack course? The engineers I work with found very crazy idea for me to start full stack engineering course. But I thought it makes totally sense for me because I can go through database front end, back end, and then fill my gap of the knowledge, technical knowledge. So that's why I made a decision to take this course. If you are non-engineers interested in the full stack engineering course, please talk to me or Matt. Yeah, we both have non-technical background. Okay. So go back to my app. I built a Sake library. This is the public API. The idea behind it is very simple. I wanted to build a public API. And I have given the tech talk about building your own API in 30 minutes. So I spent 1 month thinking about why you want to build one public API and what will qualify me to build one. So I thought maybe I can collect all kinds of sake data existing in Japan and put it in my database, will qualify me to host the API. So as you can see, if client app requests me the sake data, my database, my API will respond. That's my app is about, and I decided to start small, so my database hosts very basic information, sake name and maker, and the region is being produced, and website information. So let me demo. So this is my sake library. And as you can see in the subtitle, there is no sake database in the world, so I am building one. I'm planning to release one. So if you're a sake lover, please access to my sake database once I've been released. So this is providing a very basic filter to search for sakes. And I have also the sake marketplace. And then I have a very basic phone for sake makers to add new sake data. So by the way, the sake type, Junmai, Daiginjo, or Daiginjo, those things are talking about how much the rice is polished. So I submit the data. So I right now demonstrate as a sake maker to input the new sake data. So inputting the data is really headache for certain people. So I prepared one function OCR, and you can upload a sake label, and then submitting it will go into Google Vision API, and Google Vision API will detect the text words within the image and then text size. So that will ease the job of inputting the data. Okay. So who uses sake library again? Client app owners. So I want to provide a raw data, and then also very importantly, token to access to my database. And of course, since I am planning to host all kinds of sake data exist in Japan, so I want to also make it visible on my client front end so that consumer can explore the new sakes. I am responsible to maintain the sake data, to expand the coverage of data as well as the accuracy of data. I have to work hard. But because it is such a hard work to do by myself, I want to invite Sake Maker to log into my web app and then helping me to input the accurate data. Yeah. And my future plan, I have tons of future plan, but I am thinking maybe you guys may know that there is a service, mobile phone app to scan the wine label, and then that will provide a wine data. So I want to do the similar things with sake label, and I want to store all those credit record, credit history, so that I can ease the process of correcting the data. And these are the technology I have used. I have chosen Python because the engineers I work with are all full-stack Python engineers. And so by using Python, I thought I may understand more about them. And they recommended for me to use Flask. It's very simple to use. I had no experience using Python, but I could build in 1 week this web app. Yeah, so Flask goes with template engine Jinja too. Jinja is about Shrine, but yeah, it's a template engine, works with Flask, and combination with Jinja 2 and Flask will allow me to build a front-end, back-end without using JavaScript. So I thought that might be a very good idea to build my Sake library using Python totally, and later I am planning to rebuild a whole app using React and Redux, just to understand the difference. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and please talk to me later if you are interested in building your public API, or if you are interested in full stack engineer course as a non-tech.
I hope you enjoyed that. It's one of my personal favourites, and from Foundations course to a fantastic API, remarkable. So also from our polyglottal is our next gentleman who's coming up. Now, this is the only member of CC6 with a pilot's license. Not only does he have a pilot's license, he also is qualified in aerial acrobatics. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Brendan.
Thank you, Matt. So, what you don't know about me? So, pretty much like most of my classmates, I come from an electrical engineering background. I studied this, and I started working as a security system engineer for about 5 years in Switzerland, where I was in charge of building and installing fancy CCTV system in a private bank and international organization. But one day I realized that I wanted to know more about the system I was installing, so I decided to switch my career and learn about software engineering, because software is everywhere. So that's why I enrolled in a master's degree in IT, and that's why I eventually ended here in the bootcamp in Code Chrysalis, where I kind of try to improve my coding skills. So, as Matt presented, I'm going to show you about my polyglottal challenge week. So, during this week, like he said, we had to pick a language that we never used before and build something within a week. So, at this time, I wanted to build a mobile app. I was kind of fed up with web app. We've been working with web app for 8 weeks. So I wanted to switch a bit, so I decided to do a mobile application. For this, I choose a very risky choice to choose a very, very new framework, Flutter, and a Dart language. So what did I decide to do? So I wanted to make a Kanji app quiz game. So I wanted this to be available on both platforms, Android and iOS. That's why I chose the Flutter framework. And also I wanted to improve my Japanese skills. As you can see, I'm not a native speaker, and I tried and failed many times on this test. So I wanted to improve my skills. So I decided to create a game where you could test all your vocabulary and Kanji skills. So I use a G-Show website for this. I scrapped some data over there to have some question and to have some answer corresponding to the kanji and the vocabulary we're looking for. So, what is the language I use? So, Dart. It's very hard to describe. If I had to use one analogy, I would say if Java language and JavaScript language had a baby together, it would probably look like that. It's very, yeah, it has a bit of both language. It was very easy to handle at first, so it was very good thing for me. The second one, Flutter. So it's a framework on which you can build from a single code base. You can build 2 mobile apps, one on Android, one on iOS. And of course, the common point of these 2 things is all coming from Google. It's been made from Google, and it's actually one of the main point of interest of this. So how Google describes the Flutter frameworks. So they want to emphasize on the fact that with Flutter you can build very easily a beautiful UI and beautiful animation, and it can perform as well as a native code on both devices. So, like I said, Google tried to make something that was extremely easy to make for building beautiful animation and transition, and everything is already pre-embedded inside the code to have this great output that you can see here from the Google display. So one of the good things I had during this week is I could keep using my favorite code editor, I mean Visual Studio Code. Google deployed a lot of plugins for Dart and for Dart and the Flutter framework. Of course, you can still use Android Studio if you have time to kill. Of course, you can keep using it. And of course, one of the main things in mobile development is how to apply your change on your mobile phone. And with Flutter, you can have a hot reload function. It's extremely handy. You just have to save your change, hit the RP, and within 2 seconds, you have your code working with the change on your mobile phone. This is extremely helpful. So I'm going to show you what my app is about. It's a very simple app. You're going to see the UI is very simple, but I believe okay. So at first, you pick your level. So I just put 2 level because I'm not that good. So I'm going to pick an N5 because I know my level is not that good. So here it comes. You have, it's pretty simple. So you come with a Kanji on the top part of the screen, and you have 4 different answers possible on the bottom. So maybe with your help, which one do you think is it? Any? I would say no. No. Okay. As you can see, I'm not lying. I'm very bad in Japanese. So what I want to show you is actually this application handles very nicely the change of position. So it doesn't matter which position, which kind of screen, which size of screen you're using, the styling always behaves very nicely. If you've done some CSS in your life, you know this is something very rare. And this is something very valuable for a mobile app, and yeah, not only for this one. So as you can see, there's a lot of different animation embedded on this. It was extremely easy to deploy. I made this basic app probably in 2 days without even any prior knowledge of Dart language or Flutter framework. So I believe it's very easy if you want to start doing some mobile application. So some quick word about the Flutter framework. I've heard that 2 weeks ago they released a very important milestone, which is the version 1 of Flutter framework, which was not available when I started this development. And also they talk about something called the Hummingbird project. So using your Flutter code, you just remove the Flutter engine, you replace it with the Hummingbird engine, and your code became a web application. You don't have to change anything on your code, and this is extremely nice. I believe I'm going to keep using this framework to deploy my app in both mobile and web application. So I hope I convince you to use this Flutter framework for future development, or at least consider this framework. And thank you for listening.
I hope you found that informative. It seems like a very good platform for mobile apps if you want to try a different language. So, another thing that we all did was 45-minute tech talks, and our next presenter is going to show an app that he made just for the 45-minute tech talk. Now, I should point out that he does have an official title in CC6. He is the Lunch Master. This was granted to him very early on. Before we go to lunch, we must consult with the lunch master to see where we're going to eat. He's got very good knowledge of all the places around here and very firm ideas what constitutes good food. So after this you're hungry and you want to get something to eat, you can talk to the lunch master. He's got 99 entries in his table log. He'll be able to help you out. Ladies and gentlemen, Toru.
Thank you, Matt. Today I will introduce my application called Virtual Reality Skeleton Attack. It seems scary, but before going through my application, let me introduce myself. First, I really love new technology. That's why I researched virtual reality for my master thesis. And I wrote 80-page thesis for my master thesis. And after that, I joined KDDI as a server engineer. And I designed system architecture in KDDI. But I felt if I can build something, I can contribute more. So that's why I'm here, Code Chrysalis, to learn software engineering. So let's go to my application. As I said, it's virtual reality skeleton attack with cardboard. Because this is cardboard application, you can try with cardboard. And if you try with cardboard, it's much more fun. And your goal is super simple. Shoot as much skeletons as you can. It's really simple, but fun. And I gave 45 minutes public tech talk, as Matt said. And it was about how to start making a virtual reality application with Unity. And it was recorded, so if you are interested, you can check it. And I talked about what is virtual reality and what is good aspect of virtual reality, and also how to design virtual reality application. Yeah. So let's go to demo. And from here, because my application is with cardboard, I want to try with cardboard. And so if you want to try my application, it's a bit slow. Just put a smartphone here and start my application. And if you start, you can see something here. And from here, I will type here. As you can see, this is a welcome scene. And if you hit start button here, you can start application. And there's sound here. And as you can see, those skeletons, they are appears random time and randomly. And if you hit, there is 3D effect. And if you get damaged, it blinks red like this. Oh, it's a bit slow. And you have only 4 lives. So if you get 4 damages, yeah, it's game over. Oh, it's a bit slow, but here it's really nice. And if you want to try one more time, just hit continue, and you can try one more. Yeah, this is my demo. And behind this application, I use Unity for my development because Unity fully support virtual reality, and also C# because Unity supports C# only, and also Google Virtual Reality SDK is super useful. Like if you want to get gaze input, you can do it with Google Virtual Reality SDK super easily. So that's the end of my presentation, and as I said, you should try with this one. So if you are interested in my application, yeah, feel free to come and talk to me. Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed that, because we're going to go have a bit of a shift in pace now. You get to see what the MC has to offer. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen. So, as Sora mentioned before, I'm early on in my engineering journey, and one of the things that I really enjoy in engineering is test-driven development. I love TDD, it's fantastic. I love how my code looks when I do TDD, and I hate how my code looks when I don't use it. And quite frankly, I'm a TDD nerd. I can talk about it all day long, and I love it that much that I didn't do a 45-minute tech talk. What I'm doing is I'm going to do a 2-hour workshop next month. So it'll be an introduction to TDD. So for all you guys that are starting out or don't do TDD, you should come along. There'll be a lecture, we'll talk about TDD, and then we'll go on to a workshop. Now, I'm not just a TDD nerd, I'm also an analog nerd, and this takes the form of tabletop wargaming, something I've done from a young age. Playing with toy soldiers with dice and rules. I could talk for hours and hours about different scales, different genres, and all the different types of rules that I like to use. Now, sometimes these rules can get a bit complex, and maybe they need a bit of engineering to help smooth the path along a bit. And there's one particular set of rules that needs the help the most, and it's this one that I like using. It's called the Phoenix Command Combat System. It came out in the 80s. It was niche in the 80s. It is even more niche now because nobody plays it except for about 12 people, and I personally know 4 of them. It's written by a NASA rocket scientist. There's his LinkedIn page. So, what do you get if a NASA rocket scientist decides he's going to write a set of wargaming rules? You get something extremely fine-grained. Some of you may have played D&D. Oh, I know about D100s. Okay, D1000s. We're using D1000s for hit locations. We've got ballistic data for up-teen amount of weaponry going out to 200 yards. It is a statistician's wet dream. They love it. There's more charts here than you can poke a stick at. However, it's very time-consuming. So what I did was I did some calculations to help it along, and I used React to help me with that. And this is page 1 of the rules for generating stats for your soldier. Okay, page 1. Each green box represents an input. We've got weight, we've got our 5 attributes, strength, intelligence, all that good stuff. And we've got gun combat level and melee level. All of these interact with a number of other variables, all of which culminate in your gun combat actions and hand-to-hand combat actions. As you may have noticed, they're all linking in together. So you've got your weight and strength. Well, any of those change, you need to see if your base speed changes. If the base speed changes, did your max speed change? Did the max speed change? Okay, we need to check to see if the combat actions changed. I know what you're thinking when you look at this. Matt, did you use Detroit or London style TDD? And the answer is Detroit. I like bottom to top. I'm a builder's son. I like laying that foundation. I like working with real things. Though I can understand there's some mockists out there. They love the top down. They want to start at the top, they'll mock in. That's fine. You can do that. That's not a problem, as long as you're writing your tests. Okay. If you don't know what Detroit style and you don't know what London style TDD is, you need to come to my workshop. Okay, so let's have a look at the demo. Okay, it's pretty dull. You don't know what you're looking at because you've never played the game. Of course you haven't. It's Phoenix Command. So what I've done is I've color-coded things, so as they change, you'll go orange and red if things go bad, you'll go blue and dark blue if things are going great. Weight is an integral part of this. The more you load a soldier up, the less they can do. So we'll start incrementing the weight up, and you can see less combat actions. The speed's also going down. And we can keep doing that, and it's a bit faster with the mouse. And we're going to keep loading this guy up with bullets, guns, hand grenades, all the good stuff that boys like. And there we go, no longer combat effective. We've loaded this guy up with too much. We're now down to 0 combat actions and 0 speed. We could unload some of that equipment, or what we could do is just get a stronger soldier. There we go, we've got combat actions again. Okay, and let's have a look at the little Easter eggs. We've got some presets here. So what we can do, we can go straight to the random and just, well, we won't take him, strength 4, we can do better than that. Let's have a look, and oh, that was a good one, I went too fast. There we go. So there you have it. Quickly flicking through, we can change all of that. All of that is reflected in the state, and you need to respect the state and keep track of it. Now, you may have noticed there's a turbo mode. Now, I don't want to get you too excited because you did see Danum's sorting algorithm, but who would like to see what the turbo mode does? Okay, a few of yous. Okay, let's go fast. Okay, so if you want to go fast, you need to write your tests, you need to do your TDD. This is a long-term project, it's only just started. Write tests, go fast. So I hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. If after this you would like to nerd out about TDD or tabletop wargaming, come up, have a chat to me. I'll be the guy with the Asahi in his hand. Okay, a bit of a change of pace from bullets, guns and soldiers. We've got something else for you here, and this comes out of some of the corporate cooperation that happens with Code Chrysalis. So this particular one came out of a project with Rakuten Rapid API. So we split into groups and we made projects only using APIs from their marketplace. And then we presented those to them and we gave them feedback about their service. And this was mutually beneficial for everyone, and I believe some of the feedback we gave made it into 2.0, and incidentally, it's also where Danum got his nickname, the Destroyer. So ladies and gentlemen, I give you Team Kudos.
I am very proud to present our favorite app, Kudos, using Rakuten Rapid API. Kudos is a Greek word, means praise and honor, and kudos is about sending a compliment to someone you like. So here is our user story. So I, as a wife, got one day the feedback from my husband that he want to hear more compliments from me. Well, that happens in a relationship. And I, as a wife, I didn't know what to tell him. So here comes our app, Kudos, with a rich selection of compliments. And we will also send the voice compliments to your partner.
Before going through our features, let me introduce our technology. We use React and Redux and the Material UI for front end, and also for back end we use Express and Kinect, and also PostgreSQL for database, and also this application is deployed on Heroku. And we use VS Code for development and also Yarn as a package manager. So let's go to features. First feature is we have rich choices of complement in our application. I guess someone is not good at making compliments, but we have good one here. Like as you can see, like you are beautiful. I love your brain. That's really nice.
Not only can you choose the rich compliments we give you, we can send it to your loved ones by phone call with Twilio's API. It converts it from text to speech and it makes a phone call to whoever you want to call. Next, we believe since you were nice enough to give a compliment, you are nice enough to receive something back. So we just decided to use Jiffy API to have a flower GIF reward you for giving something special. We believe if you gave something special, you deserve something special back. Next, the demo. This is Kudos. We want to bring back the love. So we have a few cards on the screen. These two are the write the compliments, and this down here is the write the phone number you want to call. Here is our huge list of amazing compliments you can suggest. I can write something right here. Let's say, your face is amazing. Now, if you save the compliment, it will show up in the bar forever. So I'm going to send it to someone. Let's say, I'll send it to myself because I'm feeling like my face is extra amazing today. If I send the compliment, flowers. Well, yeah, flowers. So now we just have to wait. I'm expecting a call. I hope you guys are having a good night. Nice day. Oh, look at that.
You have a trial account. You can remove this message at any time by upgrading to a full account. Press any key to execute your code.
Your face is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much for watching this app. We have our link on Kudos for you guys, on Heroku for you guys to try. But as you heard from the presentation, we actually have a trial account with Twilio. We don't want to pay money for this. So I graciously decided to let you guys have my phone number to try and send me compliments. It won't be hard, I guarantee. But please only use it while you are here. Thank you guys very much.
So I hope you felt the love with that one. I know I did. So now we're heading into the main event. So these are the main two projects that we've been working on. So we started these about a month ago, and we hope you enjoy them. So straight up, we've got the team that I'm lucky enough to be a part of, Team Jacked.
Now we want to introduce our app Jack, and our team works so hard. I'm really proud. We are really proud of introducing our app to you guys. The Jack is the app to help people speak with confidence. So it's really important in the public speaking. So I want to ask you guys: is there anyone get anxious in the public speaking or terrified? Yeah. Oh, many people. It is really normal. According to our research, around 80% of people are getting anxious. Also, 10% of people get terrified in the public speaking. It's really hard. Actually, I did, but after reasonable practicing, we can be better. So now let's build the confidence.
Okay, so we had a particular person in mind when we did this, and we've got a persona for this person, and his name is James. So James is in his mid to late 20s, and he's a software engineer, and he doesn't like doing public speaking. So occasionally the boss makes him do presentations at work or run little workshops, and he never likes it, he never feels comfortable. And then the boss taps him on the shoulder and says, "Guess what, James? Next month you're going to do a presentation on TDD for 120 people from another company. Get on it." And James is absolutely terrified. He is not looking forward to this at all. And we want to help James, and there's a reason we want to help James. Because James is going to get paid 10% less on average if he's no good at public speaking. It's also going to inhibit his chance of promotion by 15%. So we want to help James, and we want to help people like James. How are we going to do that? We're going to help them be understood. We're going to train their pronunciation. We're going to make sure that when they speak, people understand the words that come out of their mouth. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to improve their projection. It's no good if you're speaking clearly if the people at the back of the room can't hear you. So we're going to help him train his projection to push that voice down the back of the room.
So next, let me introduce our features. And we have 4 main features in our application. And the first one is for perfect pronunciation. We have tongue twisters mode in our application. And in this mode, you can practice tongue twister 10 times in one trial. And you can get immediate feedback about coverage and fail words. And second feature is projection practice. You can build your voice in this mode. And you can do a public speaking rehearsal in this mode. And you can get a real-time decibel information. So if you can check decibel information in real time, you can check if your voice is good or not. And after rehearsal, you can check your transcript, what you said. And third one is karaoke mode. What is karaoke mode? First, you get a random topic and 5 random images. And what you should do is you should keep talking for 5 minutes, and you should keep following the topic. And at the end of talk, you should conclude your talk. Let me explain with timeline. First, you get topic like how to become happy. and you get 4 pictures like this, but you should talk for 5 minutes. You should follow the topic, and at the end of topic you get in conclusion, and you should summarize everything in with last picture. And you can get immediate feedback. Also word per minute and decibel and transcripts. And the fourth one is we have statistics. So if you try some mode, you can see some statistics in our application. So let's go to demo.
Okay, let's take a look at demo. This is our app, Jack. It's beautiful for main features and projection and tongue twister and karaoke and activities for statistics. Now James doesn't have confidence for his public speaking, so he is going to projection to make his confidence. Okay, I'm gonna show you demo. Yeah, it's really, voice level is really low, but now I can keep my talking in reasonable voice, and my voice decibel is over the 40 decibels, keep going, and finally James realized my voice is really enough. Okay, I'm okay, so let's go to the pronunciation test. So finish the test and go back to the main and the tongue twister now.
Yes. And once you get good voice, you can practice your pronunciation. And as you can see, we have some five tongue twisters. So let me try with Unique New York. And if I hit here, Unique New York, 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 Unique. If you fail, of course you can get some fail result. And so now James can improve his pronunciation and voice.
Okay, so things don't always go according to plan in a presentation, and we want James to learn how to think on his feet. And this happens through karaoke. I'm about to get a random topic and random photographs, and I need to speak on that. Okay, so let's see what I get. So, how to meet a serial killer through social media. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering how to meet a serial killer through social media, I'm here to tell you how to do it. Okay, first thing, you need to get outside, so put down the video games and go outside, because the problem is serial killers aren't going to come to your house if they don't know where you live. Lots of places you can go. You could go to a football game. You just look for the weird guy standing near the toilets. I find that usually works if you want to find a serial killer. He's going to take you somewhere secluded, probably out in the countryside, near a river. And when he's out there, well, he's going to kill you because that's what serial killers do. And then he's going to go back to the city. Maybe he'll keep a souvenir, bury it in his backyard. So that's how you get to meet a serial killer and get killed. First of all, you need to go outside, go somewhere crowded, look for the weirdo. He's going to take you somewhere secluded. He's going to kill you, take a trophy, go back to the city, and then he's going to stand overlooking the ocean and have fond memories of the day that he met you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you do karaoke. And we go well, we get a little message, and we'll tell you. So, James has learnt how to do all that. He's going to track his statistics over the month. So, James is going to have a look there. He's got stats for his tongue twisters. He can check his stats on that. He can check his stats on the karaoke. And we're going back to the projection, and we can check it by day, we can check it by week, we can check it by month. We can select a day. So let's have a look at the 19th. We've got all our individual practice sessions, and we've gone down to one practice session, and we've got a transcript of what was said at that particular point. So what you can do, you can see where you're the most confident and the least confident. So you can decide on the areas that you need to focus on. So James does that for a month, practices his pronunciation, his projection, learns to think on his feet and tracks his progress. And he does that presentation and he nails it, and the boss says, you know what, I think you're a senior engineer.
Okay, next, talk about technologies. Jack, it consists of big three parts: continuous integration and continuous delivery, and the front end and back end side. Let's talk about the CI/CD first. And there are many developers that are working together, and we just 3 now. But we are working on our branch and push to GitHub. And the GitHub will send a signal to Circle CI and the Slack. And the Slack will notify the other developers what's going on the GitHub side. And also CircleCI start the task and build, and finally is deployed to the AWS. And when we deployed our app and we use the Sublace technology for backend, we use React for the front-end side. And also after deployment, in CircleCI will send the signal back to GitHub and Slack, and Slack will see what happened, and everything we can understand through the Slack. Let's take a look at what's going on in the Slack. There's a new branch, and the pull request and automatically test and deploy, and CircleCI will show the result. And then developers click the CircleCI, and we can see what's going on in the recent process, the front end and back end. If we click the specific task, there is the result. We can see the process, task, build, and deploy.
Okay, so a little about the front end. So we host it on NetLiffy and we use React for the front end. So why React? It's well supported, it's a very popular library, it's quite good to work with. Why React over React Native? So we wanted this to be available on any device with a microphone. As long as you've got a device with a microphone, you can use this app. You can try it without a microphone, the results aren't going to be great. So we also use Material UI for the designs, Charts.js for all those lovely visualizations you saw, Lorem Pixum API for all those random images that you've got to think on your feet for. Now the backbone of it is a web API, speech recognition and audio context. Without it, it doesn't do too much. So works through Google Chrome, so we chose this because it's good for rapid prototyping and we were able to get this up and running pretty quickly.
And about backend, because we wanted to do a serverless architecture, for serverless architecture, of course, we have to choose some cloud. So why not use AWS as a backend? And in backend, we are using Cognito for user authentication and management, and also API Gateway for API management, and Lambda for API server, and also Dynamo database as NoSQL database. So let me explain with an example. So if user land our page, they want to log into our system. So they put ID and password and hit login. Once you log in, that information automatically sent to Cognito, and Cognito check the combination of ID and password. And if it's okay, you can log in. And with Cognito, you can do social login also. And so once you log in, what you want to do, you want to challenge something like karaoke mode or something. And if you do karaoke mode, you have to save data to database. So what users do, they make post requests like to karaoke, and that information is automatically sent to API Gateway. And API Gateway detect, okay, this is post request to karaoke, so let's fire this function on Lambda. And Lambda fire add karaoke function, and save data to Dynamo database. This is basic of our backend. So let's go to struggles of our application.
Okay, so on the front end, the speech and audio streaming caused a few difficulties. So particularly with the tongue twisters. So the problem there is we wanted to have a real-time analysis of what was being said, and there's no built-in methods in the web API for that. So we had to write our own to come up to get over that. So that took a lot of time of going through the data, seeing exactly how things work, and then coming up with an effective method that would able to return an accurate result in real time.
And about real-time chart, I used React Chart JS 2, and I wanted to update my chart dynamically. So I use set state to update dynamically, but that set state changed some options, some variable of chart.js, but it doesn't redraw chart itself. So, but there is redraw option in chart.js, but redraw option, once you make redraw option to true, it automatically render chart, but it change chart to default. So finally, I found, okay, I have to pass all chart variable to set state, and it was really kind of huge pain for me.
Another struggle on the building of the CI/CD pipeline, and when we wrote the Circle CI, the pipeline script, there is a kind of requirement problems between all the steps, the build and the test and deployment. So we also really separated the environment, the development, and the production. So there is some problems, and also authentication problem to connect to the AWS. We need to set up the IAM, so every time. So we fixed everything. Also, sometimes we mix packages to build, test, and deploy. So everything is fixed now. And another issue is on the configuration of serverless. When we wrote the serverless, the infrastructure code, there is a missing configuration or something wrong, even include the indentation problem. Luckily, we found really good tutorials for the serverless technology, so we referred all the information, we fixed everything, it's now working well.
So let me talk about our future of our application. First, we want to implement socialization because this is basically training application. It's difficult to continue, but if you have friends on our application, maybe it's better just to continue our application. And also gamification is same reason. If you have hour, if you have point, it becomes the reason to continue training. And our application is now it's only for English, so we can do it in Japanese, Korean, Chinese, other language. And fourth one is improve test coverage. In backend, it's almost like coverage is 100%, but for front end, it's like 10 to 15%. So we want to improve test coverage also. So thank you, and we have URL here. So if you want to try, you can try, and you can try. You can scan this QR code too. Thank you.
I have to quickly point out the presentation, the really fast presentation that Matt just did, that was completely random and unrehearsed. So I think we should give Matt a round of applause. So at Code Chrysalis, we call these Code Chrysalis karaoke's, and we actually make our students do that. So we have our own slides, and we put them up here, and they have to come up with a talk in 5 minutes. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna pass it back.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and coming up next is our last presentation for the evening. So, a couple of other things while they're setting up I'll let you know about. So we already told you about Rakuten Rapid API. We also did a couple of workshops at Pivotal, which we all quite enjoyed. I particularly enjoyed the second day where they talked about TDD, no surprises there. And we also did one with RGA, and both of those were very valuable when we came to these senior projects because they ran through a lot of building the personas and the user stories to help with your development. Anyway, I'll hand you over to your final team for this evening, Team Hatari.
Thank you, Matt. We are so excited to finally present our mobile phone application, Hatari. Hatari is a mobile phone application, and Hatari is the word Japanese and means narrative. And discover Tokyo through the eyes of local is the key value we want to deliver through our app. Let me tell you one real story. I met one lady 1 month ago. She's 70 years old. She's Japanese. She lives around here, and she and her family owns few buildings around here. She told me that this very place where I stand used to be a bomb shelter in a time of Second World War. So after war was over and people lost the housings and all the temples are clashed, so they could actually live inside of the bunker. So here in this kind of story, I realized that the image about this place has really changed. So these are the type of the experience we want to deliver through our app. And Hatari shall be the platform for the locals to share their stories and for people who are curious about stories to discover the new story. So let me introduce one storyteller, Hiroyuki. He's age of 45. He's born in Roppongi, runs small business of, using a used car. He's proud of his locality. And he knows many stories to share. And now I want to walk through our app as a Hiroyuki. I'm logged in as a Hiroyuki, and I now want to go to map and add new markers to the new point of interest. So I am drag and dropping the markers in the right spot where this place is. And clicking a check will guide me to this page. And I want to give a little title called Chrysalis, and then select the category of the location, and attaching a little description about the location. And you can also attach the image. So selecting one image appropriate to the location, logos, and saving this data will lead me to the map and shows the little pretty icon like you see. Yes. And now I, as a Hiroyuki, would like to add new story related to this story. So I go to the form and I give a title that's the bomb shelter story I just talked about. And I can also attach the picture related to this story. So I will add the bomb shelter image. Where is my image?
1 second. Take too many selfies.
Oh, yeah, I found one, so I added. So saving a story, and then going to the profile page, I can see all the stories I have created, and I can manage them. I can edit. I can also delete. So delete my story. So this was the story of Hiroyuki. Now to Brandon.
Thank you, Sora. Sorry, small microphone problem. Okay, so what we just see is from the storyteller perspective. Now we're going to go through the second type of user. So the story seeker. So here comes Adam, age 26, is coming from Netherlands. He's working as an English teacher in Netherlands, and now he's just traveling in Japan for 2 weeks, and he's staying around Roppongi. And he's very curious to know a bit more about this neighborhood. So here comes Adam, he logs in inside our application, and he goes inside our map feature. So right now, you can see like just around him, oh, there is a temple. Let's see what is this temple. So this is a temple that means one-way mountain. It was built in 1663. What kind of interesting story can I learn about this? Oh, it turns out that this temple is actually a cemetery, and there is a very famous samurai that was buried here a long time ago. And it turns out that this samurai is actually very famous nowadays because they use the same character for many game and manga in Japan. So this kind of place is very famous for Japanese lady to come and have a look inside the cemetery and take a picture of them around there. So Adam want to know a bit more about what is around. Oh, there is a Code Chrysalis. Let's have a look. What is this? Oh, we have a Code Chrysalis. Yeah, we know what is Code Chrysalis. It's a bootcamp. Oh, it turns out that this bootcamp actually is inside a bunker. It's amazing. Wow. Why do we have a bootcamp inside a bunker? So here Adam tries to go to the main screen. So here you can browse through all the different locations that we can have in Tokyo and have a look just by clicking on any other picture and have a description about this place and see some interesting story about this place. So for instance, here we have some talk about a specific coffee shop. So yeah, later on today, Adam will have to meet some friend in front of the Mori Tower. So you're going to start looking at Mori Tower. What is interesting over there? So you see there, okay. What is the description of the Mori Tower? So, okay, if an interesting thing, the big building where the Mori Tower stands today used to be a single rice shop place before. Now there is a 53-story building there. It's amazing how now the neighborhood changed over the years. So here is a small example of how a story seeker can use our application. So we could see that we have different features in our app. The main one is a list of all the locations you can find inside Tokyo, and you can have a description and story related to this. And you can also browse through this location using the map and see what is around you at this time, what is the point of interest around you. And we saw earlier with Hideyoyuki that you could add your own location and explain and share some of the story you have about this place, you know about this place. Stories that you want to show to people who don't know any locals to explain this story. So this is a great platform to share this kind of information. So when we started our project, during the ideation process, we realized that there is many things that we don't want for our app. We didn't want our app to look like existing app on the market, like TripAdvisor, Google Maps. We didn't want to have an app where people could put very random review and make a review that are not very relevant to the experience you're looking for when you're traveling and when you try to discover more things. So we try to banish reviews and scoring from our app. And also something that we try to avoid as much as possible is we don't want our app to be loaded with commercial information. Pretty much like the kind of map that you can have for free in a tourism office when you visit the country. Most of the time these maps are loaded with commercial advertisement, and you don't really have any idea about what is really interesting in the city to visit. So we try to avoid all these kind of things when we design our app.
Okay, let's talk about the technologies we've used for this app. So first things first, we chose to use React Native. One reason why is because we wanted a native application. We don't want people to have to take their laptop around Tokyo to look for cool locations. So we decided to go native with that. And React Native is really cool because there's a lot of libraries we can use. A few of them that we've used were React Navigation, React Native Maps, and React Native Elements, all of which basically created our app. React Navigation was great to navigate from screen to screen, passing down props. React Native Maps was really good because it basically gave us all of Google Maps to play around with to access. And React Native Elements was amazing for us with the components they gave us. The tool we use for development, Expo. So Expo, for those of you who don't know, is basically create React app for React Native. The cool thing about it is you scan your QR code and then all of a sudden it builds your app. This was really good for us because we had a team with different devices. So as an iOS, me and Brendan have Androids, and we have Windows and Macs all over the place. So this simplified it a lot. So when we started up, we got the app running really quickly. The problem is that there's a lot of tweaks with Expo. If you don't have the right Wi-Fi connection with your computer or your phone, it gives you big red screens that kind of yell at you. And we're used to this color now, but the thing is, like, this app made it easy, but I wouldn't recommend it if you're more seasoned at making builds with mobile.
So for storing data, we have chosen to go with Cloud Firestore. And for our image to be stored, we have chosen to go with cloud storage. And for the user's authentication, we use the Firebase authentication. And these all comes from a service called Firebase. Firebase is very known platform for developer and bought by Google. And it's connected to Google Cloud Platform. And as you have seen, our service is about Hiroyuki has to be able to identify himself, and he's adding a new location and new story. So we have user and location and story to host. So for that, we are using Cloud Firestore. I find personally the branding Cloud Firestore and Cloud Storage, the name it's difficult to understand the difference. But cloud storage is like Google Drive, so it allows us to store the files. And Cloud Firestore provides method on snapshot, and that method allows front-end data to be synced real-time to the database on the cloud. So if user is not connected to internet and generating the data, but as soon as back online, it will be pushed to the database and synced. So for the user experience, good user experience, we have chosen to go with Cloud Firestore. And we also found that the graphical user interface were also useful for the rapid prototyping. In the beginning, we had long discussion about what kind of data we want to host and what kind of data type we want to have. So trying out and pushing the new data, generating the data, and I could see, I had my dev environment locally, and I could see the Charles working from at home and pushing his data on the database, and we could discuss upon the data. And we could also delete the data from the graphical user interface. That was very useful for the process of prototyping.
So one of our first challenge we had during this project is we realized that we couldn't deliver an app with absolutely no data on it. So we had to find a way to come up with location, description, already loaded inside the application. So we spent a fair amount of time browsing through different kind of touristic websites, and we ended up choosing Lonely Planet because they had lots of different locations, interesting locations around Tokyo, with a very nice description, a description that really corresponded to the way we wanted to explain story to people. So we used some of the web scraping tool available out there to grab all the data we could for Tokyo on the Lonely Planet website. So we used some of the beautiful soup to do some HTML parsing and grab all the data we needed from the web page. But also we had to use some web automation tools such as Selenium to simulate some web browsing and grab as much data as we could.
Now, let's talk about some future implementations. We're all very proud of our app, but there is so much more we want to accomplish. So first thing we want to do, we want to add a more user interface. You want to have like, share, follow. We want people to be able to like the locations and the people that post great stories. And also, we eventually want to have a news feed. So when new stories come up, we want them to be able to see the newest stories and eventually make it basically Instagram. And then next, we want to make translation possible. We want cultures and people that are divided by language barrier to be connected on this platform, because stories shouldn't be separated based by language. We also want to do speech by text and text by speech, because there are people who have great stories that can't read, and we think that's a great pity. We want everyone to have a voice with our app. Finally, we want a gamification system. We want there to be rankings, we want there to be experience points. The more you post great stories, the more likes you get, the more rewards you get. We also want rewards, so if you decide to post a bunch of stories in Roppongi, you deserve a reward for being the master of Roppongi. And now let's talk about some challenges we faced. The first challenge is none of us are designers. It was really hard to make a good UI, UX experience. For instance, we started off making a list top to down, really ugly, very basic. We talked to everyone, got opinions from all the instructors here, our friends and families. They told us how ugly it was, and eventually now it's not bad, I have to say. But the thing with that is we kept trying and trying, and eventually the UI got better. Now we're at least decent designers, if I can be honest. Next thing, bugs, lots of bugs. So the thing with what we decided to do, this is an app that uses a bunch of screens, and we decided, let's not do state management, which was a horrible idea. We didn't do a state management tool, and because of that, we had a lot of bugs transferring data from state to state. If we were to go back, we will do this like tomorrow, but like if we go back, we would definitely implement a state management system. It will cause a lot less bugs, but we grinded through, and somehow it's looking good. And finally, teamwork, communication. No matter what team you're in, I guarantee you will have problems. We didn't fight, like we still love each other. But the problem is that no matter what team you're in, everyone has different ideas. If you're gonna talk to each other, you have to somehow agree on a set of ideas. My idea was actually different from Sora's, but we ended up making it completely work. So advice for that is meetings every day. And it worked out really well for us. I want to end this presentation by announcing that our app is available on the Google Play Store. Please download it and post the stories you guys have. We're all very curious about what people here have to say about the city. And thank you guys very much for coming out to come watch us. All 6 of us really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our final presentation for the evening. I hope you enjoyed our demo night. We enjoyed giving it, and we'll be around if you want to come up and have a chat to us. Most of us are looking for jobs. If you want to talk to us about that as well, that's not a problem. Okay, thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Woo, all right, this is a really big room. Can you all hear me back there, or do I need a mic? All right, great. So I just want to thank all the people who were able to make Demo Day happen. Connie, of course, co-founder and CEO. Yay! And then we've got Felix right here, instructor. And our photographer for the night, and also one of our instructors, Dylan, back there. And then manning the registration table is Mary. Mary's awesome. I'm a lot of people.
Noah.
Noah! Where's Noah? Oh, there he is. Noah, our intern. Heather, oh yes, there's also people who are currently not here, but also here. So Heather, Haruko, I'm sure there are many other people that I'm forgetting. Oh, not too much. I didn't do that much, but yes. I'm happy to take applause and compliments. So I have a few announcements before I let you all go and mingle. You can see all the information about our current graduates on our website, codechrysalis.io/cc6. Their resumes are on there, links to their LinkedIn, etc. Also, I want to invite you all to our next demo day. So we have CC7 Demo Day on March 28th. I think there's a current CC7 person in the audience. Yeah! Hey, too! Alright, and if you are interested in our April, July, or October class, any of our upcoming courses, now is the time to apply and see if you can get in. We have some really great announcements coming up for the new year, but yeah, here's all of our social media information. If you guys took any photos and posted on social media, if you could tag us at Code Chrysalis for all the social media things, that would be fantastic. Yeah, congratulations to our current graduates! They've turned into butterflies and will be flying out of the chrysalis. All right, so we're going to wrap things up around 9:30 or 10, so please hang around, mingle, meet our students, get their number, get their email, and I think that was all the announcements. I hope you all have a really great new year. Yeah, 2019. Thanks for coming.